We are live.
Oh, just maybe. Just possibly. Could it be true? I'm afraid it is, boys and girls. We are live once again on a Wednesday, getting ready to bring you some Linuxy, nonsensical news. I'm going to talk about how much I love Thunderbird, how much I love Firefox, man. I'm just having the great, bestest Mozilla experience in the pre-show. Nothing but praise, nothing but praise. How's everybody doing? It's the middle of the week. Snuck up on me. I looked up at the calendar and I'm like,
actually.
oh man, I got about an hour and a half to get ready for a show. Watch me run. Here we are. Lots to talk about tonight. Verified flat packs. Thunderbird's getting a makeover from the ground up. I'm going to tell you about running DaVinci Resolve on AMD and why it's got some problems with AMD's side there. And a very risky Debian installation.
Yeah. Exciting. Hi, Mir.
I gotta do some social media. All right, we got about 10 minutes before we get started, as is tradition.
Okay.
What's going on? What's new? Does anybody get anything fun happening in their life, in their world? I know we finished up tomorrow. Not tomorrow. That's gonna be Jordan. Yesterday we finished up a little bit of Trackmania. We got some new maps.
Yeah.
We ran into one map that only I think two of us finished.
Yeah, the boss map. I came very close. And I think, if I work at it, I will get it. But I don't know if it'll be a fun one for the race.
We'll have to see. We will have to see. Yeah, we got that going on. Jordan's going to be back tomorrow with Borderlands, and Friday we'll be doing some more Trackmania and new Trackmania 2020. I'm looking at some maps.
Yeah.
We did a little bit of an RPG playthrough.
Yeah, we sure did. It was Portal RPG for Trackmania. And that was... Actually, it was quite fun until it got so hard that hardly any of us could get through it.
Well, I mean, it's not that hard, Jill. It's only a 10-hour map.
Yeah. Yeah. 10 hours, yeah. I will be right back.
All right, I'm doing social media, so boom.
Okay.
Boom. I probably need to... Did I update Twitch? I don't know if I did or not. Twitch... I'm kind of scrambling right now. No, I didn't update Twitch, so let's go ahead and change that. Creator dashboard. Right. People are confused. They're like, this isn't Trackmania. Science and technology. Lwdw. Mix with the live. Wednesday. Alright. Boom. Look at that. Now we are in compliance with the Twitch police. It makes me so happy. I don't have to worry about the volunteer Twitch police showing up, the volunteer enforcers, the people who will show up in your chat. Just to show up in your chat, be like, you're in the wrong category. Yeah, you're going to have to need to change that. Okay? I'm going to need you to change that. I'm like, what sad sack of existence do you live in where that's a thing that you do? Like, what? You don't even see that when you watch us full screen, and that is the only way to experience Linux Weekly Daily Wednesdays. You're denying yourself that pleasure. You should have us in full screen. You won't even see that nonsense in the first place. But nay. You need to have 6, possibly 12 Twitch tabs open so you can make sure, they're not violating any of the Twitch rules. I don't know. I assume people do that, man. People got a lot of free time. Okay. So I think I have our shots together. I got something to drink. It looks like Pedro is making, what's going on over here? Oh, no, Pedro just posted a GIF. The GIF wasn't moving. I thought Pedro had bought a grill, but apparently he hasn't. He's just got a GIF of a grill. Alright, so I gotta get that shot. We don't even have any dancing numbers. I didn't have time to render those out. Do I dare? No, I don't want to mess with it. So I'm going to say no, I do not dare. Oh, man. Interesting thing. I think I'm going to do a video on it. You know what? I'm going to do that right now. No, I'm not going to be doing a video on it right now, but what I'm going to do is I need to find the exact moonglyph command for unbricking a MikroTik router, because I bricked my router board 4011 earlier this week. And by that earlier this week, I mean Saturday afternoon, right before Linux Gamecast Weekly. That happened, and that sucked. But fortunately, there is now a CLI tool for Linux from MikroTik. So you can do a net install. MikroTik's an interesting company. You might not know about them. How do you brick a MikroTik? Easy, because it'll let you. It's one of the things I've always, as crazy as MikroTiks are, one thing I respect about them, they give you a loaded gun. I mean, if you want to configure the thing in such a way that it will not boot, you can do it. 100%. It won't stop you. It will not warn you. And like, all right, have fun with that. This wasn't my fault, though. This is what made me upset. I mean, maybe technically my fault, because I was running a router OS, I think 7.8 beta 6, and it had switched over from beta to release client. And I'm like, oh, look, a release RC. Candidate, I guess I should say. Pop that on, rebooted it. I'm like, all right, that's fine. Once you've updated router OS, you have to go back and flash the firmware for that version so they sync. I did that, booted it back up. I'm like, brilliant, that's fine. And I went to make an adjustment to one of my simple queues, which, just, you know what queues are, right? Data queues, bandwidth limiters for the different devices in the studio. I made an adjustment to that, and what did I? Oh, right. And then I decided to update router OS on the access point in the studio. And instead of rebooting that properly, the lazy way to reboot that, since it works on power over Ethernet, is just to reboot the main router. So I rebooted the main router and it didn't come back up. Wouldn't come back up, couldn't SSH into it, couldn't get a hold to it through the console port. It was gone. Difficulty multiplayer. This was 3 hours before the show. We made it, though. We made it. So what I'm going to do is make myself a nice little video and a quick little guide, because this is relatively painless once you know all the pieces you need to put in play. After that, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. And I was very responsible. I even did a cloud backup of my current config, which was nice.
Hi, Dick Kresny. How you doing? Hi, Joe.
Oh, but Joe, then I'd get picked on by all the cool kids for having Unify. All the cool kids be like, aha, you got one of those Tonka toy Build-A-Bear routers. Like the code blocks of programming.
Oh, FX boy. Hello. Hey, Joe.
Joe, the reason I picked MikroTik was because I don't know anything about networking, and I've managed to have a relatively successful career dodging everything network related. And granted, that's what I say. I don't know anything about that. I'm talking about like enterprise networking type stuff, like home stuff. I probably know a lot more than anybody would assume I do. But I wanted to learn some nitty gritty things, and MikroTik's very much trial by fire. You either get it right or you get really good at blowing the system away and trying it again. Yeah, I've always been fascinated with like LAN stuff. I'm relatively like surprisingly familiar with LAN stuff, but it's all the WAN stuff, like internet facing type stuff. I'm like, I don't want to touch that because I'm smart enough to realize that I don't know what I'm doing, and that could be dangerous. You know, it bugs me even having web facing. Even the Trackmania server, man, I'm always checking that thing. And it's nothing. There's nothing on there, but I'm always like, nobody's gotten in, right? Oh, yeah. Well, see, in the past life, I had to deal with Juniper. Also had to deal with Mellanox. But this was like Interact. If you've ever played with InfiniBand, that's what I'm more familiar with. Yeah, that'll be the catch, Joe. It'd be like, do I want to pay 3 times as much for half the features? What do you think, Joe? Does that sound like a good deal?
Yeah,
It'll be really easy to work with, though, because it's got a nice GUI. No?
No. Yeah. Yeah, I've done lots of networking stuff in the past, but it's local intranet as opposed to internet for render farms and whatnot. But it's not that difficult once you learn all the bells and whistles. Setting up render farms and such is still kind of the same as it used to be to do that. But we do have cloud-based internet rendering now too.
Well, all the rendering for any major project, like all that's going to be done over, like that data set's going to be slung over the network blocks, like to the whatever's in the rack. Like then you're doing like a rack communication, like setting up Vinci rendering server or Maya or something like that. Oh no. I'm good, Joe. I'm good, Joe. I think we had that discussion. I think, didn't Unify make like an 8-port 10 gig fiber switch? Didn't we look into that at one point? Now, it had to be fanless, too. It has to be fanless, and it has to have 2 power sources. Like, it'll be able to have redundant power supplies. What? You have crazy requirements like that? Yeah, I do. Just for you guys at home. To make sure we stay up. All right. We are together. We got our 2-shot lined up. Fanless and 2 PSUs. Good luck with that. That's what I have in the studio. What do you mean good luck with that? I have awesome luck with that. That's exactly what I have.
Hey, Boo Love. Yay. You made it. Well, I knew you were, but I just didn't know when. Like you do almost every week.
Well, Steve knows the trick, and Jill, you show up right at the big top of the stream and go, hello, then you go off and go do something else.
No. Well, he's at work, so he gets called to meetings and whatnot.
That's the trick, isn't it, Steve? That's how you get away with it.
Oh, but
like,
he actually
yeah,
goes back and watches the show when he's, if he's missed most of it or some of it.
I know you do, Steve. I believe you. Is that at 129? Okay, there we go. All right. So we're good. You got to go to San Fran? What are you doing in San Francisco? I haven't been in San Francisco in a long time.
You used to live there, didn't you, Ben, briefly?
I was out there working on a project in Oakland. I was in the Bay Area. But I was out there for 3.5, almost 4 months.
Oh, it is a big project.
When you were 2? Did they kick you out? They were like, nope. Oh, a wrestling event. All right.
Yeah, I used to go to San Francisco yearly because my best friend is there, but I haven't seen her in a while. But that is always a fun trip.
Cow Palace Arena.
Ah.
It's in Daly City. Right.
I know that well. Yeah.
So that's north of San Fran.
Yeah, it's literally the very next city. My girlfriend Maya, she lives on the boundary of San Francisco proper and Daly City. So on one side of her apartment, you see Daly City. On the other side, it's downtown San Francisco. She has a really nice spot on a lake there. Yep, even Steve says that. That's where our friend lives.
Cowpalace.com, ladies and gentlemen, where they still have Google Plus share buttons on their site.
Oh, wow.
All right. Cool. All right. Let's get that. Is this okay? Okay. Let me see if this shows up. Hang on, I got to check something. We're trying new technology tonight. Okay, let me see. Oh, it does show up. Boo!
Oh, it's going up and down.
Yeah, you see it?
Yeah.
So, let me see. What is the auto scroll options? What are the hotkeys? Give me those hotkeys. Middle click? Scroll by using control plus left click?
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That is nice that they made it middle click and not left and right click, which is some of the others I noticed were left and right.
That's about the right speed.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit fast, but I gotta hide because you guys can see it.
Yeah.
So I gotta hide it behind the red bar.
Yeah.
All right.
Your lower third.
Yes. All right. Cool. I think we're in one piece. Let me check storage. How are we doing, Mr. Storage? We have 511 gigabytes free. That should get us through a show. I gotta edit down our supercut of everyone failing on that boss map for 15 minutes last night.
Yeah.
Good and good. Let's do it in 3, 2. Hey everyone, welcome back to Linux Weekly, daily Wednesdays where we sit back, relax, take that midweek break, talk about some of the fun things going on of Linux and open source, anything else that kind of catches our eyes, right eyes, left eyes, the eyes in the middle. If you had an eye in the middle, what would you do, Jill? If you woke up one morning and you're like, man, I got a third eye, this is weird.
Oh, I would love that. I could see better.
Because you'd accidentally poke your third eye out, be like, third eye blind. Oh no. It's another fascinating week for Linux, everybody. We got a bunch of fun stuff to talk to you about.
Yeah.
I'm playing around with a bunch of things. This is one of those Wednesdays that I knew full well when I woke up this morning it was Wednesday. But somewhere between then and about an hour before the show, my brain just checked out. I was working. I got 3 other projects that I got to get done. I was like, right, I got to do a show today. So
yeah.
I had to scramble, screeching in, and we had a fun time at the beginning of the show because I'm exploring email clients again, but we'll get on into that a bit later on. Then I'm trying to wrangle Firefox trying to use Firefox more, just so I can have a more balanced opinion opinion about it, because
Yeah.
that's me. That's me. If I'm going to speak ill of anything, or if I'm going to speak good of something, I want to make sure I use it. I do not like judging something from a place of ignorance, because that is actual ignorance right there. That's it's just being not very good. Playing around with a couple of things, though. One of the more interesting things that I haven't figured out exactly how I'm going to do it. If you've ever had a ground loop issue in your audio, and I think a lot of people have, you just didn't know what it was called. You'll plug in like a USB audio interface, or you'll plug something into your audio chain with your headsets, with your gaming microphone, or just your regular microphone, and it'll introduce that, and you'll hear that like hum. You're like, what is that? Go away. It's horrible. It's bad. That's a problem with the mains. It's a problem with grounding when something has two different grounding sources. And there's a couple of different ways to get rid of it. And years ago, I did a video of like, hey, what works and what doesn't, showing you what a ground USB isolator was, and, actual boxes to remove that. I got a big version of one of those boxes, not like a super big one, but one that you could use for line level signals. And I think I might do a little video about it, because it's kind of fun. It's kind of neat how it works. Maybe explaining to people how transformers work with audio and how the windings go together.
Oh, that's cool. That would be cool, then.
Might be borderline educational.
Yeah.
Who knows? We're using it right now. So there you go. Pretend you can hear something different in the audio, because that's another thing I want to change. And the main reason I want to do a video on it, Joe Bryant, is because I had all of the questions. This is a product that's been out, 6-7 years, right?
Yeah.
Common product. They've sold thousands of them. And I had like 5 or 6 serious questions. Like, does it do this? Does it do this? Does it do? No one's answered it.
Oh, okay. Can't find any information anywhere.
Right. And like, does it come with an instruction manual? No. It's just a sheet of cardboard that says there are some transformers in this thing. Have fun.
Oh, boy.
So maybe I'm going to do that. How about you? What are you up to? What's new with your third eye?
Yeah, getting ready for scale. In fact, this weekend at Strider's house in Chat, creator of Lwdw, we're having a Linux Gamecast party, viewing party on Saturday night. So we will be there, and we're going to make some plans for scale. Southern California Linux Expo, which is coming up on March 9th through 12th of this year at the Pasadena Convention Center in Pasadena, California. And you can actually use promo code CHIX for 50% off your scale registration. And you'll be able to find me at the Linux Chick-fil-A booth, number 234, the Tux Digital Destination Linux booth, and roaming around the Lwdw booth too. So I am going to be very, very, very busy, and doing live streaming on top of that. So it's going to be a very busy scale, but wonderful.
What's better than it being an incredibly boring scale?
Yeah.
Hopefully there's going to be a bunch of people showing up, and it's going to be a good time for everyone involved. Now, let's get right into this with something that falls into the probably should have been there at the start department.
Yeah. So verified Flatpak apps are actually coming very soon. And Flatpak apps now have a verified badge icon, but only on the beta portal for now. This honestly is a great idea, especially with the greater adoption of Flatpak apps. And FlatHub and Flatpak packages, are the future of Linux apps, actually, according to many people. And GNOME is continuing
and they're all wrong, Jill Brown.
Well, GNOME is continuing to invest heavily in it. And even some of our Ubuntu derivatives like Pop! OS use Flatpak in their software center. So it's becoming a thing. And so GNOME has some very big plans to improve Flatpaks too. And verification is actually a way to properly distinguish official apps from community builds, and will be quite important for so many reasons, like for security and privacy. And it is a way to process and verify apps from first-party teams instead of third or fourth-party teams. And I've actually been hearing some news since the end of last year when the FlatHub code was actually merged in the main branch on their GitHub page. And I was, very happy that this is coming. And actually, another thing GNOME wants to do is to give developers a way to collect donations and subscriptions too, which is also important to help make it more sustainable. I think this is a really great idea, and there's like a ton of apps already available. We've got Firefox, Converter, Bottles, Abbey Word, OBS Studio, and HexChat are just a few of the verified apps already available. So this is wonderful. They needed a verification system, so people trust it, trust the product.
There's a couple problems with this, though. I mean, again, this is kind of one of those things that probably should have been there to begin with. But 70 apps have currently been added to the verified list, which is nice. That's dope. I like seeing that. And developers, What do you got to do? Nothing too crazy. You got to link your account with a GitHub or GitLab. That's how you get verified. Here's the problem, though. Here's the problem, Jill. Here's the problem, everybody listening. Unfortunately, Jim from Guitar Center can verify that he created a flat snap image pack for CUCME. And it would say, yeah, it's verified. I'm like, but he didn't create CUCME. I'm like, but he's the packager. He did it. So, and they ran into that like WhatsApp and things like that.
True.
It's not a perfect system. What it is better than nothing, though.
Yes, absolutely.
And I don't think we're going to be seeing a lot of rampant abuse for it. But having a nice little check mark. And, when you're sitting there thinking about installing a flat pack, getting ready to go, man, I've made some poor life choices. I'm going to install a containerized application on my desktop. At least you'll have a check mark to know that it's verified.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't approve of containerized desktop applications, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Ven's favorite is AppImage, which honestly, that's my favorite containerized platform. It's the one that's been around the longest. It's a great
try before you buy. Like both snaps and Flatpak start from a end user hostile type. They're not a better experience yet. See, I keep throwing yet in there because that slows people down. Because I'm going to get angry at you when I said yet. I'm not saying it's impossible to make everything nice and smooth. It will get there.
Yeah.
It will.
It will.
Now let's talk about Thunderbird.
Yeah. So the Thunderbird email client has a major announcement. Thunderbird is now almost 20 years old. Wow. Right? And they have decided to rebuild the Thunderbird user interface and backend from scratch. And as the developers get closer to this year's release of Thunderbird 1.15 Supernova, they were hearing a certain question more and more often. And the question was, why does Thunderbird look so old and why does it take so long to change? Yeah, a lot of the community have had this.
Here's Thunderbird 1.0. Remember this?
Yeah. Yeah, Ben, you can get that love in Sea Monkey. Yeah, absolutely. So, Thunderbird is undergoing a massive rework from the ground up to get rid of the technical and interface debt accumulated over the past few years. Simply adding stuff on top of a crumbling architecture is actually not sustainable, and they can't keep ignoring it. So they're going to start reworking it and making a new user interface, which me and Ven both got to test out in the last few days.
Oh, I've been trying to use it for the past couple of weeks.
Yeah. What are your thoughts about it, Ven?
They're not good, Jill. That's why I'm letting you have all the time you need here, because I'm not going to say a lot of positive stuff in a minute.
Oh, okay. Well, for me, it was a positive experience. It booted very quickly for me, and I think the layout looks nice and modern. And this was, I actually installed the February 13th 111 nightly and tested it out with my Linux Gamecast email. And I really like the UI of the calendar tab and the tabbed layout in general. But I know Ven isn't a fan of it. But this is a work in progress, and I hope these things will be improved. It definitely does look cleaner and more modern. So I have to give it that. And it was really snappy. It booted fast.
Round Legos are an abomination. Taking a look at the blog.thunderbird.net. This post, all this you can find in our show notes. Let's go ahead and say this. I praised and not praised Thunderbird over the years. You know, if I like something, I like it. And if I don't like something, I don't like it. I don't believe in cheerleading a product. That does more damage than anything I could ever say is to say something's not wrong. You know, everything's fine. You've seen that comic before, Jill, right? The little dog sitting there sipping his coffee with the fire behind him. It's like, oh yeah, everything's great, guys. So don't worry about it. Just ignore it. So let's get to what this is. Mm-hmm. Email desktop clients are not a growth market. Mm-hmm. They're not. True. This will be in perpetual decline. There's not going to be a renaissance of email desktop clients. People are all of a sudden going to go back to doing this. They're not. Why? It's 2023. Where do you check your email 99% of the time, Jill? On your mobile device.
Oh, on the web. Yeah, web-based clients.
I check mine on my Android device.
Yeah. Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah. If I get an email, where do I see it first? I see it in a notification on a mobile device that's always going to be next to me.
Yeah.
That's where I see my email. I'm like, oh, okay. And if it's long and drawn out and I got to bring, pen and paper, the equivalent, I got to bring keyboard and mouse into this. Yeah, I'll open up my email client and I'll do that.
Yeah. Makes sense.
That's
I don't like notifications of my email because I get too many of them. So I just usually, even on Android, I go into my Gmail account or Proton Mail and just check it when I'm able.
So you just disable the notifications for you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Too many. I mean, I sometimes have gotten 100 in literally 10 minutes. So
well, I understand you don't get much in the way of email if that's all you're getting.
Yeah.
Now, for the rest of us, that's how we get our email notifications these days.
Yeah,
that's how you're cut abreast because you don't have a desktop computer.
Yeah.
You might have a laptop laying around. Maybe a Chromebook. So that's my point. Like, we're not going to see... This is not a growth market, email desktop clients. It's just not. That's reality. You got to face reality. And all that said, I love the Thunderbird project. I do. Mm-hmm. If I didn't love it, I wouldn't say anything about it.
Yeah.
To that, I want to say, please stop with the UI redesign. Please. Just, no, don't do this. Don't do this. It's oof. The new UI in Nightly, this has been about a week now, that I've had to revert back to using Thunderbird Stable. It's that bad. Like I tried to live with it for a few days. I tried to find ways around it to make it work for me. And it didn't. Which always leads me to think, why do we change things that work? What's the point behind this? What's the logic behind this? And again, I'm not talking about the underpinnings. I'm not talking about the scaffolding. I'm not talking about the foundation. No. I'm talking about the user interface. I think we got that down. I think we got that figured out in 2023. And more importantly, I don't think UI is a fashion show at all, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just speaking for myself. I'd personally much rather have a UI that looks a little older, but it's comfortable. It's familiar. And it's something that you can use as opposed to something that's trendy. Me and Jill even had this discussion before the show started. I brought up, and Jill said, well, it looks like Outlook. Like, yeah, everybody knows how to use Outlook. It's familiar. It's not, oh, here's Linux. What, your first experience to Linux, give them something like a tiling window manager? Like, I don't want to use this. I don't know how it looks. It's all different. You're like, yes, but it's new. Like, go away. Give me something with a start menu. Maybe that would be a bit more familiar. So one of the big things in the UI is the way your regular IMAP email accounts, like say the Linux Gamecast accounts that I have set up, those are fine. My Google IMAP email accounts have to be fully expanded in order to see the inbox. Yeah. I have just the inbox, then I have the billion other Google folders that are built in. Mm-hmm. There's no option to hide. So I have to have all of those expanded. So there's this big, long, massive scroll wheel. Like maybe you would be able to check your mail if you had everything collapsed, because I have enough email accounts to where I would typically keep everything collapsed. You'd be able to check your email address from the collapse menu. You can't. No, you have to have it expanded. You have to go to your inbox, and that's where you see. Now, maybe the way around that is to use a combined mailbox. I was trying here. Like, I'm going to make this work so I can test it. And I still couldn't get that working. I mean, it's a very long way around the issue, considering you broke something that was functional. And, the type of people who need a dedicated desktop email client in 2023, we need just that. We need that dedicated email client. We don't need the calendar. We don't need the messaging. We don't need the bells. We don't need the whistles, because we're a dying breed. We're limited. I dare you find me somebody under the age of 35. Even over the age of 35, you bring up, Outlook and stuff like, yeah, maybe for work. Speaking of Outlook, this is what people do need, though. They need proper working Exchange support.
Yeah,
that's what
that
they
is
need.
definitely, yeah.
Then you can sync your calendars. Then your email and all, and you're not going to have to use the IMAP functionality without Exchange.
Mm-hmm.
Moral of the story, Jill, is don't mess with UI, please.
Yeah. Well, Ven was saying before the show, when we were talking about it, that he preferred what the improvements that Thunderbird was doing with the older GUI, and I particularly like them too a lot. I am actually surprised they totally changed the layout, so it's really nice. So maybe we could have both.
This is change for the sake of change. This is what happens when you let designers sit around and go, "Hey, do something." They start designing.
Something new.
Yeah, this is the modern, fresh take on. Guess what? You don't have a modern or fresh user base. All this does is anger and confuse existing users.
Yeah, and like you were saying, it's a diminishing market, and the people that you're really catering to.
No, Jill, how dare you? This is going to get the kids to start using desktop.
A lot of people who want better security, are using standalone email clients. So that's in that area, people are becoming more concerned about that. So maybe there would be some more growth.
This is why it's important to get outside of our bubble. The average person don't care.
I know so many Linux users who use Thunderbird and have for years, like me and Ven.
Again, the average person, Gmail, Apple Mail. Mm-hmm. That's it. They couldn't tell you what an email, like SSL encryption. What? No, no. Whatever. I'm just not a fan of change for the sake of change. I want all the other stuff. I'm completely behind. Let's make it faster. Do the rewrite. Keep being awesome. All that other fun stuff. Mm-hmm. Just don't. I don't know. It's one of those mixed messages. I wish them all the best. But let's just not redo the UI for the sake of redoing the UI. Who's asking for that? And again, it's very easy to come out and say, but Vin, you're being old and a curmudgeon. I'm like, yes, but that's your user base.
Yeah. And this might have something to do with, we've noticed in the last few years, like for instance with Vivaldi, they're trying to do all the things like Firefox used to. Thunderbird was integrated into Firefox.
You mean, when they were going down the road that ultimately killed the project?
Yeah. So, but that's kind of trendy again. So to include, chat and calendar and those kind of things. So I guess that's what they're thinking that their customers want, their users want. Mm-hmm. Like personally, like earlier, I talked about SeaMonkey. I use SeaMonkey. I like SeaMonkey for email. And it is, what the original Firefox was with the all-in-one suite, web design, email, chat, the whole thing.
That was still that was big and it got bloated. You saw what happened with that by the time it got to like Communicator 6.0. It was just a nightmare to use.
It became a memory hog. Yes. I remember those days.
doomed to always repeat the past is something I like efficiency. Here's what I was doing before I dialed up Jill was installing claws. I mean, I use Thunderbird, and I bounce around because all I'm doing is like looking for an alternative.
Yeah.
At this point, because I worry about stuff like this, and if you want to talk about like just old school, just get the job done, Claws is probably the right piece of kit for it.
Nice.
That's when if you're thinking about email, this is Claws.
Yeah.
What does it do? It does email. Like, well, what else do I do? Email, but can you? Nope, just email.
Just email. Yeah.
And it does boil down to, after 20 years, Jill, I think we've got the interface for email figured out.
Yes, we do. We do.
I dare say we might not need a hot, fresh take on it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd love to hear your feedback. Leave us a comment, YouTube video, send us in some mail. I will gladly read off any pro and negative, anything you got, because I love different thoughts,
Yeah, like FX Boy says in chat, you want basic for email? We got Mutt, we got Squirrel Mail. We've got lots of different options for basic. But Mutt is also good too. That's a good application.
Yeah, you always got the person that's like, yeah, well, you can check your email in terminal. Do you check your email in terminal? No. Okay, then. It's also got to be usable.
Yeah.
And functional in 2023, which is another thing. Yeah, like I'm always down with like differing in opinions, and I'm always terrified of getting stuck in a bubble, tech bubble. When I say, well, everybody, and it's too many times when I hear people say everybody, that means their circle of friends. I'm like, you got to get outside of your sphere there and realize that we're an incredibly small minority. The average person is like, I don't know what's a Thunderbird. You say Thunderbird to them, they're going to think it's alcohol or a car.
Yeah, very true. Very true, Vin. And just like, on Android, I was thinking about this. One of the most popular is K9 Mail, which I really like. And now,
you brought that up, and I had completely forgotten that K9 is now
merged with the Thunderbird project in Mozilla. So it's going to be interesting what they do with that. I'm hoping they keep that the same because I love it. I use it on a daily basis on my phone.
I would like I fully support long as everything is going to be running. They keep everything nice and copacetic there because, there's this imaginary dream world where I'd like to have a Google free Android experience that was usable and functional.
Yeah.
And that would be a big part of it, was having a good email client. So I wish them all the best on that.
Yeah.
All right.
Me too.
Now let's talk about something that is so far inside of our bubble.
Yes. Woohoo! Congratulations, Vin.
Let's talk about DaVinci Resolve on Linux. But Vin, you've done that before multiple times. Yes, I have. I try to do one for every major version. This one's a little bit different, though, if you're watching the video version, because we're going to be doing it with a Radeon AMD Pro drivers on Linux. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the wild and wacky world of DaVinci Resolve on Linux. We're going to try to walk you through setting up a workstation on an AMD GPU. In fact, I'm just going to use the APU, the 5600G. That is in the rectangle box that I have set up. And you know what? Installing AMD binary drivers has been a joke since the ATI days, kids. Not the funny haha. No. Like, this is more like the OMG WTF BBQ type ways. It's always been a show of sorts. And I wanted to see what it was like in 2023. And the difficulty multiplier was, I want to see if I can make my 5600G work with DaVinci Resolve, Blender, and all this other stuff, and which requires installing the Pro drivers. Like, okay. And before we get started, I was joking around. I was thinking to myself, I need like time till Arch user shows up in the comments. And I think probably 45 minutes after this video went public, Like, hey, we got a script on Arch that works with this, and I researched that, and it was like 2 years ago, and it worked with an older version of DaVinci Resolve, and the next comment was like, it's broke now. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
So use at your own risk, but this will cover all the fun bits for setting a workstation using Ubuntu LTS, because basically you got 3 options. You got 3. I know this sounds weird, and this is not Resolve's fault. You don't get to blame Resolve on this. You don't. This is an AMD thing. If you want to install the AMD Pro drivers, you can use an Ubuntu LTS, a very particular version, or you can use a version of SLES, Suzy, or you can use a RHEL. Yeah. Or, this is like step 1 to installing drivers. Isn't it a hard sell, Jill? Like, I'm going to need you to format your computer.
Yeah. Now, I have a DaVinci 16 running on a CentOS box, but that box was already set up to run Maya and 3D software, Maya, and so it ran out of the box, but it was made to work with the AMD closed source drivers and with animation programs. It was all set up for that.
So installing it yourself is going to give you, it's going to get you that knowledge base of, in case you ever do want to set up a workstation. And this is taking about, why do you need this in the first place? Because of compute, OpenCL drivers, the ROCm drivers are getting better. And there's just things you got to realize. You like make sure you're not running Wayland. And it's relatively straightforward. There's not a whole lot of things that are going to catch you. I give you the Moonglyph command that you need to install the Vulkan and the OpenCL bits. And at the end of the day, it worked, which was the big surprise.
Awesome.
Big surprise.
You had to do the legacy install for the drivers. I noticed that. There was one of the commands.
Yes, you have to do the OpenCL.
I remember having to do that a while ago.
You can install both.
Yeah, cool.
So you can do the rocker and the legacy stuff, and also make sure you get your Vulkan Pro drivers in there. And well, what I do want to do, and you've got to make sure that you've add your users to the video and the render group. And there's some, bonus things you need for DaVinci Resolve as far as applications, but everything else is pretty straightforward. The one thing that you do have to fight against is the window void of nothingness that shows up. Like, man, that's kind of bad. But at the end of the day, you get a discrete. And again, I did this on hard mode by using the APU.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And Ben, I've been sharing the video around to a lot of people who are interested in using AMD GPUs.
Oh, no, the only takeaway from that is when you get done watching that video, the first thought any logical person should say is, I'm going to buy an NVIDIA card.
Yeah, this is true.
Again, if we're talking about workstations and setting stuff up, DaVinci Resolve can be made. However, I made that video because you know what? Maybe you already have an AMD card. Maybe you don't. You're not out to you're not setting up a dedicated workstation. And you just want to make use of it. Now you can. There you go. Plug that in. And then again, you might not want to because, I want to go back and test gaming performance and stuff like that.
Well, then I think this is cool because so people, there are some people who work off their laptops and that are using APUs. And this is, a perfect case for them, especially like students who need to do animation. And this, installing the AMD closed source drivers is good for a lot of applications like Blender and DaVinci and Maya. So it's, this is really awesome. And the fact that you included a really nice your web link has the tutorial and of all the sauce and what goes into cutting and pasting in the command line and whatnot. So it's really nice.
Well, I mean, if you're going to do a guide, Jill, you can't just go drivers go burr.
Yeah.
I kid you not. That is the other, if you look up how to install AMD DaVinci Resolve with AMD GPU Pro drivers, this guy does just this mystery cut from the beginning to the, now look, everything's working all of a sudden. It doesn't work like that. I don't know what they were trying to pull off, but there you go. Get out there, make something awesome. As I always say at the end of those videos, just enabling people to get stuff done.
Yeah.
If you want to help us get stuff done, you can do that by becoming a Patreon. Patreon.com/Linux Gamecast. See, I just slid into that segue. That's right. We got a bunch of membership levels that get you access to different things at different reward tiers, up to and including access to our Discord, where we're hanging out the other 6 days of the week. Extra live and uncut versions of these shows. You listen to this, you're like, man, it's about 30, 40 minutes. Usually it's like an hour and a half, 2 hours. A bunch of bonus material. Access to things like that video. Like, hey, I put stuff like that up a little bit early. I'm like, hey, take a sneak peek at it. Do you like that? All right, get it out there. It's a good way to help QA things. Access to our show notes, etc., etc. We do thank you for your support. You can also head over to LinuxGamecast.com. Smash that support button. We have a store. We have PayPal. We got studio wish list. Jill's got a wish list. Everything you can imagine. But most importantly, if you get a chance, share the show. Tell a friend. Tell a cat. Tell a dog. Tell a marsupial if you dare. And we will be forever in your debt. All right. We do need to thank David.
Yeah.
Now, here's why I want to thank David. I got a notification, I think maybe on Monday. Get a notification if anybody ever increases their pledge. And I always bring it up. I'm like, if you're going to do that, I'm like, oh, I'm going to publicly embarrass you. And I didn't get a note or anything with that. And I happened to read a comment on Linux Gamecast from David. And David, this is, hey man, I upped my pledge because you brought up MCP pants.
Awesome.
Jill, are you going to pretend to know who MCP pants is?
No. I've heard you say the name, but I don't remember.
Jill. This is MCP pants.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Now I see the visuals. The spider with the diaper. Yes.
MCP pants is a very famous rapper. Beastwick, first one to get it. All right, Aqua Teen for life,
Aqua Teen
baby.
Hunger Force, yes.
So yeah, we were talking about one of the games from NextFest. NextFest is going on right now. Go check out, you can sort it by Linux demos too. And upcoming Linux titles. Go through that. Oh, speaking of that, as a patron, you can come hang out with us on Tuesdays and Fridays for our Trackmania. I had another person write in and comment to the show. Said, yeah, you know what? Games are really good, especially at our age. That, it's good that we find something active to do, right?
Oh, yeah. Keep our minds busy.
Right. And reflexes and all that. Like, consider it, even if you don't like playing video games, consider it medicine for your reflexes.
Yeah.
What we're up to on Tuesdays and Fridays, outside of the community aspect of it, give it a try. Don't knock it till you try it, even if you're not into racing games, because we got people that are absolutely not into racing games. Like, okay, this is fun. This is physics, especially when you break out Portal RPG maps and stuff like that. And as a group, we're trying to figure out what to do. Good time had by all. But thank you, David, who's a new executive producer.
Awesome. Thank you so much, David.
Super awesome. It crashed the Vivaldi window.
Oh, my goodness.
David going to David. Now.
Yeah.
Time for a slice of pie.
I'm thinking of Aqua Teen now. You showed the image. French fry guy.
What, Frylock?
Yeah.
French fry guy?
Yeah, that's what they called him in one of the episodes, Frylock.
Who are the other characters, Jill Bryan?
Oh, I don't, it's been so long. See, that's why I didn't remember the name of the spider with the diaper, because it's been I haven't seen it since it originally aired, so I need to go back and watch those.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They got movies, new series coming out.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
It's great. That thing's been around for a long, long time. So's Debian. And you can put it on your brand new Star 5, Vision 5.2, RISC-V SBC. Kinda. I want to say kinda on this because this comes from CNX Software. They got a hold of one. This was a project that was kickstarted, and this just might not be 100% ready for production, but we're talking about this is the quad-core RISC-V. It was kickstarted last year, and they said to him, hey, here's the board, you want to play around with it. He decided to try to put Debian 12 air quotes onto it because, Debian 12 is not out yet, not Debian testing. And getting the critter to boot is an adventure that required updating the SPL and U-boot bootloader. I mean, we're talking like early days of like old times with the Raspberry Pi. First boot took about 3 minutes. NVMe actually works, but it's only getting about 100 megabytes a second right now. So that might need a little bit of work. Audio works, and when I say audio works, the 3.5 millimeter jack works, not the HDMI audio. That doesn't work quite yet. And documentation is a wee difficult to track down because it's smattered across multiple message boards in English and Chinese. However, if you want that old school, early day experience, and you want to play around with RISC-V, this is how you do it. If what I just said made you go, man, that'd probably be pretty fun to play with over the weekend, and it didn't make you go, ooh.
No, not at all.
Maybe give it a look, because this thing's only $70, Jill, right?
Yeah, and it was 110, I think, on Amazon.
Oh yeah, if you want to pay the Amazon scalpy price.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I'm down with stuff like this. Vision 5 2, and these are shipping. The GPIO is a little wonky. I mean, everything. Okay, a little wonky. There you go. There's the disclaimer for everything as we're scrolling through audio things. They got some benchmarks. It technically runs. You buy it. This is a Tinkerboard. $70.40 plus shipping. If you want to get it from Alltechnica from China, and 112 with a Wi-Fi version. So we're going to get more and more. It's going to be a while before we start seeing, I've said this before we start seeing RISC-V CPUs that you're going to want to use. It's going to be a while.
Yeah, and this is a great way to start tinkering with it too.
Mm-hmm.
The Linux RISC-V is still, pretty new and still in development. But from a video graphics point of view, it should be expected. It's like what's going on with the M1 and M2 chips with Apple. So things are developing, but it took a while, and then now it's all of a sudden, especially with the M1 and M2s, it's picked up.
When we see an architecture like this, especially when you get a new architecture like RISC-V, it's a good time to get in on the ground floor because you're going to learn a lot of stuff you otherwise wouldn't.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Learning how to get one of these bootstrapped and loaded and eventually into some type of X session, you're going to pick up so much extra data about so many extra things. And this is one of the beautiful things about Linux over the years. I've lost count. It doesn't happen as much today as it used to because things are so refined and easy these days. Which is why I roll my eyes sometimes when people say, Linux is so confusing and fragmented. I'm like, you have no idea. You have no idea what it used to be like, man. You were there.
Yeah. Spent hours and hours compiling kernels and getting, doing, installing drivers, doing InsaMod and getting sound cards working. That was a thing.
Or just the very simplest thing of like, I'm trying to get this one thing working. And in the process of trying to figure out that one thing, I have to learn these 4 other things.
Mm-hmm.
So you end up with a really good foundational knowledge. And this is a good time to get in on something like this.
Yeah, definitely. Not only is it teaching you how Linux works, it's, you're learning compatibility with RISC-V architecture.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
You get to play around with it.
Yeah, and it's cheap enough now to play around with. That's the big deal.
$70. And, all of Vision 5 stuff is on their GitHub repo.
They're awesome.
So if you want to go play around with it, I mean, it's all there. All the craziness. Like, this is it. Hey, if you need a hobby, go pick one of these up. This will probably get you good. This will probably get you good. All right, we got to get out of here. All right. 40 minutes, 37 seconds, just in time to roll some credits. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for showing up. Thanks for hanging out with us. And we will see you next week.
Yay! Thank you once again, David, to our new executive producer. Woohoo! So he's going to go on our executive producer list. Ven might have put him on there already. Oh, not yet. But
Not yet.
He will be on the next
Because Ven
show.
was running late.
Yeah. Aw. Thank you to all our patrons. We have quite a few in chat. I've got my brother Jellybean. We've got DSNG
You
Joe.
said you've got your brother? Is that Jellybean? It sounds like you're being held hostage.
Aw.
Yes, I've got my brother. Yes,
Yeah.
he's there.
And we got Beastwick. We got my husband, Steve Husband. We have Strider, creator of Lutris. We have Artherin.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thus concludes episode 364. We will see you next week. Until then, get out there. Do something fun.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Yay. Bye. Love you. Oh my god. I couldn't remember Frylock. Like the French fry guy. Oh, that was funny. Yeah, I haven't seen those since they aired.
Well, Beastwick, you forgot about Super Birthday Snake.
Yeah. Aw, thank you, Brother Jellybean and Joe and Beastie.
Yeah, although Aquitaine Hunger Force stuff was made right up the road.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Nathan Scott Phillips. There you go.
I haven't, God, I gotta see what year it originally aired, because that was the last time I saw it. I really liked it, though. But I didn't remember the name of the characters.
When did it start?
2011.
Aquitaine Hunger Force first started airing 23 years ago.
Yeah.
So 2000.
Okay.
Shaken Meatwad. Yep, Steve knows the deal.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I didn't remember their names. Yeah.
The golden age, man. Adult
Yeah,
Swim.
PT Dave. Yeah, Space Coast. I love Space Coast. Coast to coast. I know. We all loved Adult Swim. But yeah, I remember when it first aired on Adult Swim. And I remember watching the first episode.
Oh, man. Yeah, C-Lab 2020 was 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of weird. I mean, you get to see what the next generation views as like their unhinged stuff on if you follow the Adult Swim YouTube channel, because there's like some just very Adult Swim stuff that I could imagine, you know, people looking at going, what? And like, I don't get a lot of it, but hey, they're still doing things. That's Valve trending on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
The blog post now says holiday sized update. What? 16 hours ago? Who knows what else? Huh?
Hmm?
The plot thickens. I don't know. We're going to go. Let's go check out, see what's going on here. Holiday sized update instead of. Oh, they're getting ready to do something with TF2, huh? Steam Workshop creators, can we have your attention? The following urgent times welcome to a future job. Events have been item updates, but this year we're planning on shipping a full-on holiday size update with items, maps, and oh my. So get to work, or back to work. Go make those hats, peasants. Okay, that's cool. Well, I guess I could put that in the show notes for Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
I will investigate that. And I'll let everybody know it has been, we got our 10-year anniversary. February 14th.
Amazing.
2013. Yesterday.
I'm old.
10 years. Valve released Steam on Linux.
Yeah, I can't believe that.
And we even had a Steam for Linux celebration sale. 50 to 75% off. on all Linux games. So,
Remember those days?
oh yeah. 10-year-olds, dude. Yeah, things have changed. Now it's just pretty much play anything. What do you think about it? Yeah, I remember that day. I also remember seeing the Witcher 3 and Batman, Arkham Knight being listed on that page of Linux games, and we never got either one of those. No, I'm not still bitter. I'm still bitter about it. But here we are 10 years later, right?
Yeah.
We got a Steam Deck.
Yep. We've got Linux as a first-class citizen now in gaming.
Hmm.
Awesome.
Oh, Linux Gamecast Weekly predates Steam and Valve. Like, that is one thing you can never accuse us of trying to get on that like popularity train. Like, the idea of Valve and Steam working on Linux wasn't even I mean, there was always rumors, right? But there was no like thing to play with. Like, yeah, I started doing this in 2010. So yeah.
Yeah, I remember those early episodes. You
13 years.
You were having to dig just to find a new open source game that would run on Linux. It was amazing.
We had some humble games. Like, I mean, to this day, that's why we still have a big section of the show in the news where we take the time to cover open source games each and every week. You know, that's not like, that is a tradition that will always remain as long as I'm here. Mm-hmm. Because I think those are equally as important as, you know, commercial games. You know, we were talking about the Force engine last week, and we were talking about the Amber Moon rewrite, and like that stuff's important. Like, I always want to keep like the spotlight on open source game development, engine development, and all that other stuff. Yeah, it'd be a lot easier and a lot quicker to be like, hey, let's only talk about closed source Steam games, but no, that wouldn't be any fun.
I know.
First Class. I liked X-Men First Class. I thought it was a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? This Intel Arc, I'm thinking of... I almost bought an Intel Arc. I did, for whatever reason. Acer's Intel Arc GPU, their 770, was on Amazon for like $349. I almost picked it up. I'm waiting. I'm not paying $400 for one. I'll pay like $250 for one.
I was thinking about $250 if I'm at Micro Center and I see one around that price.
And Intel, I'm talking about the 770 with 16 gigs because it's not as fast as my 3060. This is just going to be one to do a couple of videos on. Which I wouldn't mind. What we really need is that water-cooled 4090, though. Absolutely, we need that to play Solitaire and X-Bill. With the blog post at it. See, can somebody give me a link to this blog post, though? I'm still looking for the Steam things. People are just flipping out.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter now. I'm seeing all the comments. Cool. Tweet deck.
TF2 is not over just because it's not a big deal as an update as you were expecting. Beggars can't be choosers. Yeah, like, I don't know. I don't know if, like, okay. I guess we'll put this under, I don't know, I got a link to the Reddit thing in there. So I'll do some research. Valve has made silent changes to the wording in this blog post. Okay, here's the actual blog post. Look at this.
Oh,
Jeez.
wow.
That only took how long? Okay. Last few but this year we're planning on shipping a full holiday size release. So yeah, what's the problem with that? I mean, how old is Team Fortress 2? I don't know. This is it's a free game. Chances are, like, unless you got it, like, technically paid for it with the orange box. This is to me, this is the equivalent of watching people getting upset that Netflix is because they cut the password thing on in Canada for Netflix. So if Netflix is kind of geofencing, it's making sure that you're living in the house. So if you get your friends all across town, across country, using your Netflix password, and they're like, that doesn't work no more. Too bad.
I know.
And people get mad. They're getting on the internet and they're getting really upset, Jill, that the thing that they're not paying for isn't working for them anymore.
Yeah. Well, the other services have been doing this for a while. Hulu had done it a while back ago, so I knew it would happen with Netflix eventually. Yeah, FX Boy says he should frame a copy of the orange box. Yeah, I've got my copy too. I even have a poster of it, which is really cool.
I'm not defending Netflix. I'm saying it's amusing watching people who don't pay for something complain. What are you going to do? Cancel your non-existent subscription? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't understand the logic train of like, why are you? Maybe you're upset, but like, what do you want from this? Like, that is like the idle threat, right?
Yeah. Well, young people who share their accounts with their parents and grandparents will just have to set them up with their own accounts, I guess.
Parents are good. See, it's going to require I think the way the geofencing works, it requires that device to be within the proximity of the main account, like once a month.
Yeah.
So that's going to work out great for parents who've sent their children off to college.
Yeah.
In university. Now little Billy or little Sandy, they have to come home once a month.
Yeah. Yep. Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's just like another streaming service thing like that. Like Netflix is the only one I think about because of what it costs. I think we were talking about that on the pre-show on Saturday. Like, I have the plan I'm paying too much for. It's like the $20 one when I don't even need that. And everything else is relatively like inexpensive. I don't have Hulu. I have Disney Plus. I still got time on like Crunchyroll, which I still have not been able to find anything on Crunchyroll I wanted to watch.
Yeah, I used to have Crunchyroll and I got rid of it because then Hulu kept adding really good anime shows. And even
but
Netflix.
Most importantly, I don't give anybody my passwords.
Yeah.
Yeah, Netflix is the only one that I even remotely think about because it's like $20 a month. I'm like, I could probably do something else like $20. And what I do is probably about every 4 or 5 months, I have that conversation with myself. I'm like, what do I really watch on Netflix? And they'll be like, the one show comes up, like, right, that's why. Okay.
Yeah, that's the problem. I was watching Wednesday on Netflix and I loved it. And I have some other shows I do watch on Netflix, but for the most part, I don't watch a lot on there.
Yeah. And that's like the whole thing. Like Netflix, for the primary account holder, like the person paying the bill, this doesn't affect them one bit.
Mm-hmm.
Am I saying I agree with it? No, not at all. I am saying I find it amusing.
Yeah,
That the people who were bumming passwords off their friends and family were taking to the internet to complain about it.
After all these years.
I'm just saying, if that was me, I wouldn't publicly complain about it. I'd be like, all right, fine, I guess I need to go get me a Netflix account. Like, if it's that important to you.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of the streaming services are, have taken losses, especially in the last, since right after the pandemic. A lot of people dumped them. That was a thing. So they're trying to monetize, to be relevant and pay their bills. Yeah, I'm like you, Vin. I go through, it seems like every few months I go through and I say, okay, we have Netflix, we have Hulu, we have, of course, Amazon Prime, HBO Max, I've got Paramount for Star Trek, and there was always one, I haven't watched this one in a while, and I had not too long ago cut HBO Max, but now there's shows on there I want to watch, so then I'll have to resubscribe. So I just kind of subscribe to them, when there's shows I want to see on some of them.
Yeah, I'll pick up, I picked up the Crunchyroll thing for a month because I wanted to watch the Nier thing that they released a couple episodes of. And they're like, we're not going to release the rest of them. I'm like, well, fine, that's just how things work for me. I'm not going to get upset about it, but I get it. My entertainment budget is spent mostly on Patreon and Twitch subs because that's primarily what I watch. Yeah. In the background, because I'm not somebody that can just sit down, chill out, and veg out with a TV. That doesn't work with me. Never has.
Yeah, most of my money is spent on patrons as well, including us.
Well, the streaming market, yeah, of course it's fragmented. But again, there's so few and far between things that I want to watch. I like interactive media. The retro experience of sitting down in front of a TV.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I know. Steve and I don't. We're the same way. We don't watch that many regular TV shows anymore. It's mostly YouTube. I mean, 99% of what I watch is on YouTube or Twitch.
You hear that, Steve? You can cancel all the services Jill was just talking about.
Well, there's certain ones I do. Certain shows I do like. And
Get to canceling, man. Get them done before this afternoon.
Aw.
And then when she says something, just play that back. 99% of what she watches is on YouTube.
I do watch a lot of Disney Plus, though. That is one we're watching Willow on there and all the Star Wars content.
I'll tell you why I keep Disney Plus around, because it's cheap.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is the only thing that has saved Disney Plus, because man, I thought I was going to like the Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
That wasn't that great. I didn't even bother watching the Boba Fett thing because Boba Fett's just a bit character. I'm glad that people find it really fascinating. My favorite thing to come from Boba Fett was the Boba Fett rap.
Yeah.
But like the Mandalorian Baby Yoda show, when that comes back on, I'm probably going to watch a little bit of that. But again, it's like $6 now. I'm like, okay. I don't, my entertainment budget can handle $6 a month or something.
Yeah.
All right. Beautiful people. I need to go get to work. And turn this into a podcast. So I'm going to wish each and every one of you a moderately entertaining week, if I don't catch you until Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not yet, honey. There's some other shows I watch on there.
This afternoon, man. I'll give you the clip, Steve. I will give you the clip. I got it.
Guilty pleasures.
I got it synced up, Steve. So if Jill tries to say anything, you just play it back. All right, beautiful people. I'll be back. Jordan's going to be back tomorrow. If you want to play Borderlands 3 with him, he's still cutting through that, man. He's got a lot to get through. Hop in our Discord, ping him, the Burning Fool. Like, hey, I'd like to play. He'll get back to you. That's how that's the application process. And Friday, I'll be back. Trackmania. We'll be doing points. And in the after show, we'll be up to something. I'm not sure. All right. Bye-bye.
Yay. Bye-bye.
Thanks for the resub, PT Dave. I just saw that when we went to this screen.
Oh, nice. Yes, PT Dave. Yay. 16 times resub.